So the House introduced a single article impeachment today charging Trump with incitement of insurrection. Looking at the president's conduct, do you see grounds for this?
I would say absolutely. And, it is one article of impeachment. It is captioned incitement of insurrection, and it is focused on the events of January 6th and the storming of the Capitol. But it situates those events and the president's, speech and encouragement prior to the storming of the Capitol in the context of his conduct since the election on November 3rd, and basically suggests that this was just the sort of most recent chapter in this sustained campaign to deny the legitimacy of his defeat and to sow doubt about the integrity of our election, and essentially, suggests that this is about undermining or usurping the democratic process. So, it's a narrow article, but in that it's focused on this particular event. But as I said, it provides a lot of context, and I do think that if you look at the history of the drafting of the impeachment provisions in the Constitution, they are designed to prevent abuse of office, from misuse of a political position, from a tyrannical leader undermining democracy. These are the kinds of things that you hear said by the framers of the Constitution as they are drafting the impeachment clauses. So certainly history would suggest that this conduct is squarely at the center or at the heart of what the impeachment proceedings are for in our constitutional system.
And Kate, there's the constitutional rationale. There also is, I suppose, on the minds of every senator and member of the House, and really all of us, the political ramifications. Republicans are saying if you impeach President Trump, it's just going to inflame the tensions that are just raging in this country. What do you make of that?
I think that there is a counter-argument that you hear made that seems quite compelling to me, which is that inaction could have serious consequences too, and that to allow conduct like this to stand and not to provide the kind of decisive repudiation of it that impeachment would represent would open the door to, anti-democratic conduct of this sort or worse in the future. So, it is hard to know what the political fallout of either this course of action or, potentially inaction might be. But I do think the Democrats, and actually I think a number of Republicans, think it is important to take some strong stance. And again, whether that is in the form of a successful impeachment, whether that's prior to or after January 20th, whether it involves urging the vice president to invoke the 25th Amendment, I think the idea is that it is more dangerous to do nothing than to set down this path.
And there's another something that is talked about right now, and that's with another amendment. The 14th Amendment has a section relatively obscure that anyone who's made war against the United States or raised an insurrection can be banned from public office. Have you looked at that? I've heard Speaker Pelosi talk about it.
No, that's right. And actually, so Section 3 of the 14th Amendment is mentioned in passing in this draft article of impeachment. But right now, there doesn't seem to be any pursuit of that as a separate route. But I think you're right, Terry. You're right. It's an obscure constitutional provision. It's part of the 14th Amendment passed in the wake of the Civil War, designed to disqualify former Confederate officials from holding public office. And it has, basically been defunct in recent decades, although it was used in the 19th century on a number of occasions. But the idea is that potentially Congress could just pass a law basically applying Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to President Trump, thus disqualifying him from future office holding on the basis that he participated in or gave comfort to insurrectionists. And, the advantage of that route would be that where impeachment and conviction requires just a majority in the House and then 2/3 supermajority in the Senate, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment could probably be implemented with just a simple majority in each House of Congress. And, it would be an ordinary statute. It would require the signature of the president, but presumably it would be passed after January 20th, and President Biden would, I imagine, sign it. So I think that's it's a route that you're hearing a lot of scholarly chatter about. And again, that's a provision that is referenced in the draft article. But so far, I haven't seen Congress appear to take steps to actually, think about passing a law that would activate this provision of the Constitution. But I think it would be a constitutionally permissible route that has certain advantages as compared to impeachment, which is by design very difficult.